for your support and support of your student, as well as in all of our teachers and staff that have worked with students from pre-K all the way up now to the 12th grade. It's a team effort, and we're so proud to have a record number this year of awards for our student success. So again, I'm really proud now to introduce to you our principal, Ms. Allison Smith, who will begin announcing our honorees this evening. So Ms. Smith, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Let's see. Where'd you leave off? This one's me, sorry. Okay, we're going to start things off with our National Merit students. Year after year, Midway High School, the students there continue to uphold their legacy of outstanding performance in standardized testing. This year's group of National Merit and College Board honorees undoubtedly carry on the tradition of excellence with the highest number of recognitions, totaling 17 since 2016. This record number includes 4 semifinalists and 5 commended scholars, as well as 3 students who are receiving recognition through multiple programs as both Indigenous and National Hispanic Scholars. Out of the 1.5 million students who took the 2021 PSAT, only the top 3.33% qualify for recognition in the National Merit Program. Midway's 4 semifinalists represent some of the highest scores on the PSAT in the state of Texas and are among the top 1% of the United States high school seniors. Earning this prestigious award is not only an outstanding achievement for these students, but it is also an accomplishment for their families and the teachers who have poured into them over the years. Students, when I call your name, we're going to have you come up to the front. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. Also, you're wondering, I want to also thank and introduce to you our proud supporter of our National Merit Program is our Midway ISD Education Foundation. Susie Pagel, wave to us. She's our executive director of the foundation. And this is Christy Miller, our current president of the Education Foundation. And they have a very special gift they're presenting to each of our awardees tonight. So, Ms. Smith.
So I'm going to start with our semifinalist, and I just need to put a little bit of perspective on how high of an award this is. These students then come back, so they receive the honor of being a semifinalist, and then they get to do some more work and submit some essays. And so they then can be considered a finalist, and there are scholarships that are won at the very end of that. But this is a huge, huge honor. So first we're going to introduce Tristan Newman. Next we have Hunter Shee. Next up is Samuel Thaler, and Samuel also earned recognition as a National Hispanic Scholar and a National Indigenous Scholar. And the last of our semifinalists is Thomas Workentine. And moving on to our commended scholars, we have Sadie Heinen. And then we have Kaylee Keeker. Next is Kara McMillan. Toby Meldrum. And our last commended scholar is Josie Sim. And we get to keep going. So next we had 2 National African American Scholars. They're not with us tonight, but Megan Carroll is one and Ryan Evans is the other. And next we have National Hispanic Scholars, and we have Alexa Barrera. Alexa's also a National Indigenous Scholar as well. And then we have Isabella Diaz. She's not here with us. Oh, she is. Come on. We missed you at check-in, Isabella. Congratulations. And then we have Andrea Marr. Next up is Savannah Ortiz, and I don't believe she's here with us tonight, but Savannah is also being recognized as a National Indigenous Scholar as well. And then we have Hannah Padilla. This is Hannah. And then we have Abner Feliciano Toledo, and I hope I didn't butcher all of that. Congratulations. And congratulations to all our scholars tonight. Keep going.
If you don't want them, you can leave them back here.
All right, good job, you guys. Congratulations. So our next group that we're recognizing tonight is our Texas FFA National Chapter. And so Midway FFA earned the National Chapter Award. Would the FFA officer team and their teachers please join us at the front of the room? So Mr. Raychek and a couple of our officers are here tonight. I don't think this is all of our officer team, but come on up, Mr. Raychek. This is a big deal. So tonight, unfortunately, Beth Zulhoff, one of our other advisors who does a lot of the work on the backside of the National Chapter Award, she couldn't be here with us. She is out ill for this evening. But as a chapter, Midway FFA earned high marks this year as both the state and national level. They qualified for the Superior Chapter Award and a gold ranking at state and received a 3-star National Chapter Award, which is the highest ranking available. To qualify for a National Chapter Award, Midway FFA was required to meet quality standards in the areas of growing leaders, building communities, and strengthening agriculture. The chapter implemented several activities last year to meet these qualifications, including making and delivering breakfast to the local police departments, participating in the Midway FFA Leadership Expo, and building dog houses for the Humane Society of Central Texas. I know it takes a lot of hard work behind the scenes from these students and their teachers to organize and coordinate all of the activities. So congratulations to this outstanding nationally awarded group of leaders, and it was awesome for them to be on stage 2 weeks ago in Indianapolis to receive their 3-star chapter award. So they got to travel to Indianapolis to do that, and that's an amazing honor. So congratulations. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and have Delaney Moskowitz come up here to the front if she can be here. Thank you. And Mr. Raychek again. So next, we like to recognize another FFA member. If any of you guys have seen the post on Instagram and our Facebook page, this is Delaney, and she is the tractor gal. That's what I'm going to call her officially. So after spending countless hours restoring a 1950 Farmall Cub tractor, Delaney was awarded the Division Grand Champion in the Texas State Fair Tractor Restoration Competition. Delaney's hard work certainly paid off this year, and as she took home a large industrial-sized toolbox as her prize. I'm always amazed at the many talents of our high school students, and congratulations, Delaney. And this, again, is Sean Raychek, who spends many hours with her. Nope, I've got cross-country. Sorry, I had to flip. Sorry. Yes, I have one more. So our cross-country runners, if I could have Reeve Tarter and Jack Starrett and Coach John Capron come up to the front. Midway High School was represented by 2 runners at this year's 6A UIL State Cross Country Meet held earlier this month in Round Rock. and senior Reeve Tarter and junior Jack Starrett, coached by John Capron. This was Reeve's second trip in a row to the state meet, and he improved on his performance from last year, finishing the 3.1 mile race in 16th place with a time of 16 minutes and 11 seconds. Again, that's 3.1 miles in 16 minutes and 11 seconds. His teammate Jack concluded his first appearance at the Texas State Cross Country Meet or Championship with a time of 16 minutes and 35 seconds, finishing 53rd out of 150 runners. And we'd just like to say congratulations to these talented runners and to Coach Capron on a successful season. Great job, guys.
Okay, so now it's my turn to announce some individual awards of our staff and of our campuses. The first one I'd like to recognize is the best award, and that is Mr. Jay Fisher, our principal at Midway Middle School. Mr. Fisher, come forward, please. Let me explain to you what this award is. Jay Fisher is the 2022 recipient of the statewide Best Award honoring dedicated public school educators in Texas. It stands for Baptist Educators Serving Texas, and the award is presented to select graduates of Texas Baptist institutions who currently serve in faculty or administrative roles in Texas public school systems. He's a graduate of Baylor University and is one of 9 public school educators being recognized this year as a Best Award recipient. So please join me in congratulating Mr. Jay Fisher. Now, another very special award is the Heart of Texas Readers' Choice Awards, and Midway schools are once again recognized as some of the best in the heart of Texas. This year, the district swept the public school categories in the 2022 Waco Tribune Herald's Readers' Choice Awards, with 3 of our campuses voted best schools. So I'd love to, at this time, congratulate our first place winners. And so first, let's recognize the best public elementary school, and that is Spring Valley Elementary School. So this is Miss Kathy Edwards, our principal of Spring Valley Elementary School, and I know she has some of her dedicated staff with her. So all of them come forward and receive this recognition. Well-deserved, Spring Valley Elementary School. All right, one more round of applause, Spring Valley. And our next award is for Best Public Middle School, and that was awarded to Midway Middle School. Again, welcome, Jay Fisher, principal. Yeah, and any other staff members from your campus? Basketball, or Dr. Bailey? She's Dr. Bailey with you, or River Valley now? River Valley now. Oh, Who else? All right. So, Jay, you're on your own this time, but middle school, very busy, but congratulations. Jay, she's going to win another thing. And then finally, you probably can guess it, Best Public High School is awarded to Midway High School, Miss Allison Smith. And she's got her team of administrators, assistant principals, counselors here with us tonight. So let's get a group photo of Midway High School. So this one, I'm going to go off script a little bit. Let's do a quick one of the staff. Real quick. And then, okay, don't go anywhere, guys. Then all the students that were high school, I know there's a lot of high school kids. Y'all get up there too. Come on, all the high school students. Mr. Raycheck, staff, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, high school. Oh, there's some more. Come on. Send them on. Officer Foley, you're there every day. Wait, Officer Foley's coming. He's there every day.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Midway High School. All right. We have one more, so don't go anywhere, everybody. One more award. Not only did Midway earn high marks at the campus level this year in the Reader's Choice Awards, but the entire district was voted best place to work. Yes! Best place to work. It is a different category. It is voted in for best places to work. So at this time, I know, again, all of our staff, y'all come back real quick. All of the Midway staff members that are here tonight, come forward, please. A bunch of you, Jesse. And the board, everybody.
We don't work here.
We don't work here. We can't work here.
The board does not work at the school district.
We're not allowed to.
No. No, the board's not employed here.
We don't work for the.
Y'all do it.
So y'all, yeah.
People might get the idea we get paid.
No.
Oh, you're sorry.
Good idea. All right. We're finished.
Now we're done.
Now we're done.
Now we're done.
Thank you.
All right, as the
job.
superintendent
Well
said, recognition, truly the best part of our meeting. Although, if you've not heard a monthly financial report, you might want to hang around. It's a good one. Seriously though, folks that have other things to do this evening, we understand, appreciate everybody being here. We'll take a brief pause.
Well, I mean, all inspiring.
It had our name on it. It said Midway Board, whatever, Board of Trustees. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
best
don't know
place to
why.
work.
Maybe because it was just so
Yeah.
Because we create,
Yeah, we're really responsible for that.
the environment. All right, great.
Exactly. But seeing that too, all of our, and then walking, we saw the last known home
Cleared it out.
bucket, lots of bucket. Barcelona was great.
Lots of buckets.
It's part cruise, and then we did our own in Barcelona. Oceana. It's called Oceana on the cruises. Small boats. 600 people, passengers, and 400 staffers, so they take care of it.
It is. Stretch out. Put your feet up.
Oh, you know some people like that?
All I remember of Sistine Chapel was.
No, people still were doing it. People still were doing it, and then they made everybody shush.
Okay, so we have 2 information items. Does any board member have questions about those?
I do. I actually, if I could real quick, I sent an email to Dr. Pena about the change in the retention and promotion policy. I appreciate your response. I just want to make sure that there's not an intent to change the grading policy for K through 2, right? Where it's really just moving it out of the policy but keeping the process the same, right? Okay. but not like a 70% grading and all that for kindergartners. Okay, that's what I was wanting to make sure. Thanks.
Very good. Competitive barbecue club. I mean,
I'm in.
yeah.
We need to eat some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm gonna have to sample it before
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, they need to bring a sample, I agree.
Absolutely.
Tasters before they go to competition.
Yes.
So all those sort of previewed, we didn't get into any details. The monthly finance report, Wesley.
All right, good evening, members of the board. We'll take a look at our October finance report. You can see on pages, what page am I on here? Page 5 through 8. We have our, we put back our first of month enrollment reports. We did realign the grade configurations so that it's consistent from year to year. For instance, the middle school, you can see our grades 6 through 8 for all of the years represented, rather than in the past 7 through 8. And so you can see we increased 314 students from November of this year to last year. Elementary 161 increase from grades pre-K through 5, middle school 58, and high school 95 more students than last year at this time. We do have a budget amendment 23-12, including the consent agenda to provide increased funds for SRO costs. When we entered the budget request for this year, we got the updated costs after that, and so they weren't updated in the new budget. So we're having to add some funds for that. Also, the final page of the finance report, you'll see a form from TEA concerning a change in our fiscal year. So you're probably aware our current fiscal year runs from September 1 through August 31st. And by law, we can either have a September 1 or a July 1 fiscal year start date, or school district's 2 options. One difficulty in a 9-1 fiscal year is that the budget ends August 31st, but the new school year starts in the middle of August. So campuses either have to hold back funds, during the previous year, force startup suppliers for the next year, or just wait until after the school year starts, in September to start ordering from their new budget, which is problematic, as you can imagine, because there's a lot of purchases being made the first of the school year, and it's hard to anticipate during the previous fiscal year what they're going to necessarily need to get the new year started. So this is something we've discussed for several years. We've talked to our auditors about it too, and they think it would be a good move that several districts across the state have a July 1 fiscal year start date. If we do make the change, we have to file this form no later than June 30th of 2023 in order for the new fiscal year to start in 2024. So it'll just kind of move everything up a couple months as far as adopting the budget. We'd adopt the budget in June instead of August. We would adopt the tax rate in July instead of June, because we get our certified values from the appraisal district in July. So we wouldn't have that for the August meeting, but we could adopt the budget in June and then the tax rate in July.
Wesley,
Yes.
I think this has a lot of positives. I think it's a good thing, but what are the negatives you might be anticipating? Were there any negatives or cons?
Well, good question. One
challenges we need
is,
to
so
work
for
through?
instance, in a legislative year like we're about to have, if we don't know when we're adopting the budget in June, doing our budget workshop, say a month or two before that, we won't have all of the information. Whereas, later in the summer when laws are passed and ratified, we'd have a better picture. So that is one disadvantage. Now, we can adopt the budget based on the current laws, all you can really do. But then if there are changes, we can always come back and amend and make changes. So the budget process will just be a little earlier. Campuses will have to enter the requisitions for the next year, a month or two earlier than they're used to doing.
And I just had one question on the expenses. I saw we bought a new Suburban. I didn't know, did we need another Suburban? Did a Suburban break?
We have we budget for new vehicles every year.
Oh,
Usually
okay.
We probably
We get them every year?
a couple Suburbans or trucks pretty much every year, whether it's
okay.
for grounds or just for student trips. Just to kind of keep the fleet.
Rotation like buses.
Right.
And we added one more too for the Horizons program, for for transportation purposes, the students, because many of them had to go back and forth
That's good.
to the
I was
high
just
school.
curious.
Yeah.
See the trucks all the time. We don't see the Suburbans as often.
So on the fiscal year change question, is there concern that we would be adopting a budget a month or two before a tax rate? I mean, that we might sort of get ourselves in trouble, and when tax values come in, and all of a sudden we realize, maybe there's a revenue problem?
Yeah, good question. So under current law, really all that will change is the proportion of our revenue, because if our values go up, we'll have more tax revenue, but our state revenue would just go down. So it would just be kind of changing the proportion of our state and local revenue, which is not a huge deal. Now, if the laws change, then it possibly could be. Now, on our INS side, it's a little bit more of an issue because, we don't have that at play. And so, the higher our values are, then we can lower our INS rate, or possibly like we've done in the past, prepay, do a redemption resolution and prepay some bonds. But we'll know our preliminary values when we adopt the, budget in June, and they change from April to July, but it's usually not, too terrible much. So.
But on our INS rate, Wesley, we've got to have that at a high enough rate to defease it, and the rate's going to be adopted later anyway. What we've got budgeted for, like you say, we can always adopt an amendment if necessary, but we wouldn't be adopting the rates until later anyway. We wouldn't do those in June.
Right.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
On the enrollment page, Wesley, is the 8,713, is that our snapshot number?
No, sir, not yet. That's not
yet?
snapshot.
Okay. What's the date for that? Isn't it in October?
It is. The official date? The 28th?
So do we know what that number's going to be yet?
It hasn't been, I haven't received a finalized number. They'll, they get preliminary numbers, and there's a process of, finalizing it and cleaning things up, but I haven't received that.
That's the number we get stuck with, right?
Yes, that's correct.
For multiple purposes.
different
All right, I
things,
just was curious.
So that's the number they use, the weighted ADA. They'll go in and look at all the different modifiers for that based on that number, correct?
The weighted date, no, that's throughout the course of the year.
Oh, okay, so
Take
that
an
can
average throughout the
change.
course. Yeah,
Okay,
PEEM
okay.
snapshot is one date
Right.
that they take our enrollment, and there's various things that they use that for. But our funding is based throughout the year.
Right.
Numbers throughout the year.
And Wesley, you used to have the projected attendance numbers on this, but you don't have that.
Yes, I'll start after we get our next 6 weeks numbers in. I'll start populating that to give us an idea of where we're going to finish for the year.
Talking about the budget projections?
Yeah, up there he always has the
On
ADA.
the ADA, right? We have the budget and then projected
Budget.
based on the current year-to-date data.
Find that interesting.
Other questions on the finance report, folks? All right, if not.
And one more thing on the fiscal year, if we are okay with that, then in a future meeting, we'll include it as an action item for the board to approve.
Will you do that next month? We have to do it right away?
Yes, I can. We can do it next month, or as long as it's before June.
Oh,
to
okay,
get-
there's no deadline. I thought there might be
Right.
a 6-7 months before or something you had to do it.
No, he may have mentioned it, I've done this before in a former district as superintendent. It's just, you have a shorter year, 1 year of budgeting.
Right, 10-month budget.
Short, then you get a longer one, but it truly helps so much for staffing and for folks coming back and having their budgets populated when they get returned to campuses or returned to athletics or fine arts or things like that, as they, because they're working far ahead of time. And so it really does help more just in time of being able to have the funds. Very few, I guess like Susan's question, the biggest downside sometimes is maybe an amendment, but it's always balanced with amendment because revenue was off in some way, just because of your estimating it. So it's not because spending more, it's just simply because you have sometimes some amendments of both the revenue and the expense side because of it being a little bit earlier. And it's really once every 2 years. The year that you don't have a session, it's no problem because you don't have laws changing. It's just that year that you have the legislature working.
Yeah, I think it
So-
sounds like a smart idea.
But it matches better, just really what we do and how we do business. This September 1 is just difficult. Because we start school now, as you all know, earlier in August. Staff members come back even before that. So thank you, appreciate it. Appreciate y'all looking at that, Wesley. Thank you.
Anything else on this one? All right, then. Thank you, Wesley. The ever-popular school calendar. I assume for the 23-24 school year, everything fell in sync, so there are no issues. Everybody's happy.
We're going to make everybody happy this
Everybody
time.
happy.
Yes.
Tell me how you do that.
Exactly. I'd like to know that.
Yeah.
Secret
Well,
sauce.
one way is just getting feedback, getting the thought exchange out there, kind of finding out what's on people's minds and hearts. And so we've kind of followed this similar pattern here for developing the drafts over the last few years. So we've gathered our thoughts from our Midway parents and employees. We created the drafts. We have all kinds of groups looking at it, starting with the Spirit of Communication Council. That's a group of teachers that Dr. Kazanis meets with monthly. And they did an excellent job of just having that very practical look. Well, this date might need to move to this, or this staff development might work better for teachers in this way, and those kind of things. And so then we just kind of went through, always going back to those thought exchange priorities. Are our drafts still reflecting what people say that they want in the calendars? And all the way down to, so our leadership team, directors and coordinators and principals, our MAST reviewed it as well, kind of made some final tweaks to it before we put it in the board packet. And our plan is to bring hopefully just one next month to you for approval. So we'll see how that goes. And originally we were thinking that we would just go ahead and, narrow it down even further, but we wanted to see how one calendar fares when we put it out there to parents and students, because it's a little more creative than what we're used to here at Midway. So I kind of want to go through those with you. But real quick, our themes, really, it's no surprises that come back from the thought exchange, some of similar stuff to before the Thanksgiving, end before Memorial Day, having professional development days, that keeps coming back, embedded during the school calendar. Also, mental health days off throughout the year. Our teachers are letting us know very clearly that we need to keep their mental health in mind when we're developing the calendar. So we're really trying to do that. Of course, aligning spring break with Baylor. This year, we also were told, not only don't start on a Monday, but don't start on a Tuesday now. So, and then it was also loud and clear that we really need to do a better job of balancing the fall and spring semesters. This year, our fall, I think we have 80 instructional days versus 94. It might be off 94 or 95, but it's pretty much an imbalance. And of course, we had the early Christmas break this year, if you remember. So, ooh, that looks kind of weird. Sorry, it got bunched up that way, but those in white are the historical must-haves that we've been kind of working with the last few years. The yellow ones are things that came out this year in the thought exchange, loud and clear. So we really want to take a look at the early fall break. We looked at several districts that have an early fall break in October, and then also a late winter break in February. There is a cost to that, though. You've got to have the day somewhere. And then also balancing the fall and spring semesters, and then embedding some of our bad weather days back into the calendar was several thoughts that were very high up on the list, and so we've tried to do that as well. So we're just going to go month to month real quick. Promise it won't take long, but just quickly on the left is this year's. We're starting on a Thursday this year, or we did. So calendar A would just be moving it back to Wednesday. Calendar B, it's a little more creative, a little different for us here at Midway than we're used to. We'd have an entire week earlier, and you'll see where those days come into play in just a second. September wouldn't look too different, but we did put for both calendars right at the beginning of the second 6 weeks a staff development day for teachers. So students would be off on that orange square. All the rest of us would be working. October is where we try to put this early fall break. Again, calendar A, not too radical. We do have a 4-day weekend. The green square means teachers have already worked that day. It's a comp day during the summer. And so everyone is off on that 9th and 10th. Calendar B, parents and students are off for the entire week. We bring teachers back on that Thursday and Friday for staff development. November, nothing really surprising there, very similar to every other year, Thanksgiving week off. December, same thing. The only difference is we're pushing back that week, kind of the normal pattern that we had before this year, where Christmas fell, I believe it fell on it's on a Sunday this year. So it just really made the calendar a little bit challenging this year. Next year, we kind of go back to normal. The thing that we did put was the 22nd would be a full day off, just to give parents a chance to travel if they need to get somewhere for the weekend before the Christmas day on that Monday. And then January, again, nothing new there. We always have the day after our Christmas break as a staff development day, and then we bring the students back on that Tuesday. We always have MLK Day off. That's the same. February, we plugged in, again, the late winter break. So we've got the calendar A, that 16th, the purple around there means students are off, but it is a bad weather day. If we need to use that day for some reason, we can bring students back. So we have that as insurance. The same thing on the 15th for B. And again, slightly longer break for calendar B. And then again, moving on to March, same as other years, we align our spring break with Baylor, which is what our community asks for every year. Easter break, again, no big changes there. We have both the Friday and the Monday off. Those are bad weather days, though. The 15th would be a bad weather day again. Later in the spring is where you want to put your bad weather days, just in case something happens and we need to use those. And then finally, May, we finish on the 24th. The 24th on both drafts would be a half day. And again, nothing new. We're used to doing that. And the teachers would be off, even though we have those green squares. They would have already worked those days during professional development and getting their rooms set up the prior summer. So even though there's green squares, we'll explain that the teachers know you're not actually coming in. You've already worked those days. Those are comp days. So teachers and students would be off before Memorial Day. And then just real quick, just to take a look, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Witt. He did find a mistake in counting for draft B, but we've got them. I think now we have an extra, I guess, insurance day, extra banked minutes for draft B. But as you can see, the fall and spring semesters are pretty close. The spring is still a little longer by a few days, but they're fairly well balanced. And that's all I have this time. And next time we'll bring hopefully just one and the results of the survey that we'll send out. Any questions?
What would you say is the most significant difference between A and B? They seem, if you had to just caption it.
Yeah, the breaks, the fall and, the October month is a little different, and then also February, and then mainly it's the start. The SOC Council favored A, and then also the MASC favored A, mostly because they're not sure if the community is ready to start so early in August.
Gotcha. Just a lot of information to absorb.
Oh, I know.
We're getting a lot of days off. That's awesome. We're still getting our hours in.
And so tell us then about, I know I'd asked you about athletics and fine arts, both in terms of summer workouts and how early we start, but also that week in October, if it's a football Friday or a marching band contest, right? I mean, what does that do to us having kids gone for the whole week? What do we feel about that?
I mean, I could let Daryl, where's Daryl? Brett? Never mind.
That's okay.
They are not here.
Yeah,
I did check with Daryl and Brad, and what they told me was that really, I mean, there's pros and cons to either one, and they just adjust. And what they were mainly concerned about is when we do come back for in-service week, what we used to do was just plan in-service and plan professional development all day long for certain days, and that would really make it tough for them to be able to pull their folks. This past year, we asked the high school and the middle schools to plan their professional development in the mornings and then leave the afternoons off for teachers to just kind of work in their rooms. And that really worked well for fine arts and for athletics. That was their main concern. Are we doing that? And so, yes, I mean, we're going to definitely try to do that again. And that really was no problem for anybody last year. So that was their main concern, not so much that extra week.
Okay.
And that, did you notice calling this calendar B, calendar A is not so bad.
Right.
It's B that's a whole week. And we did look at that and tried to keep Fridays in session also, you know, because they're going to a football game or away game and weekend. And so you'll notice a lot of the, I guess that color is brown, tan, or on Mondays, that's the staff days, things like that. Which I think out in the Smiths just said, they'll still practice this, they'll still call them in for evening practices and or after school, or time for sports or for fine arts. Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Did y'all double check the dates for Easter? Because I thought Easter in 2024 was March 31st. I didn't think we had any breaks around Easter. So maybe I looked it up wrong.
Oh, goodness. We will double
Because
check
then when you look
that.
at one of your charts, it says, the April one said 2023. When you do, May,
Yeah, it's March 31st.
it's March 31st,
So
so
we
it's
need to,
not right.
we need to move those two squares
Yeah.
then up.
First, I thought we had no Easter I thought, where are Easter holidays? So, okay, you just had the wrong time. So, yeah, it's March 31st. Because what you have here is all these say May, they have the 20, sorry, never mind. That was last year, sorry. But yes, March 31st.
Yeah, well, so we'll definitely change that before it goes out to the community because those breaks are for Easter.
Right, good. I'm glad we have the Easter break.
Good,
that-
good catch, yes.
I mean, that really means, I don't know, you probably don't want to go back and reopen up the can of worms, but it means that you then, there would be no days off in April.
I
And
know.
so if
That's
you
what I was
wanted to do a
thinking.
longer break, April might make more sense than February in
Well,
that
that's the start.
scenario.
We get, that's why
Yeah.
we don't as much.
Yeah.
You might just look at keeping
Yeah.
only Good Friday as a suggestion and save that bad weather day for April.
Could.
Good.
Yeah, you could do
Good.
that. Just have that, have
You know,
that
have at
Monday
least
off
Good Friday
after
off.
Easter.
Save,
And then
Save
save
the
the, yeah. I see what
at
you-
least a
yes.
bad weather day.
Keep that
You
Monday
could.
on the 15th,
Yeah.
tax
Yeah,
day.
the 15th.
Little perk in April.
Yeah, what's the 15th in April for? I've forgotten the purple one.
Bad weather day.
Bad
Okay,
weather
so
day.
like you could tag
Oh,
it on there and have
Tax
2
day
days
too.
off.
Tax filing.
Tax holiday.
That's the accountant.
That's right.
Counts it as a
Sorry,
day off.
I wasn't
Oh,
thinking
think
right,
about that
Jonathan,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise,
Have your
if
kids home.
if you don't have that, both calendars, April and
And
May, that's a
It's-
long.
it's a long
with no
stretch,
days
yes.
off.
Yep, they'll be
Yes.
screaming.
Testing wise, it's helpful. You have the kids there, but it will burn some
Yeah,
teeth.
Yeah, I almost think a
Sub
late
list,
spring
sub-
break
sub-
is
subs.
more needed than the fall break myself, because it always seems like a bigger stretch, you know, in the spring, so.
Well, but this way, at least the days are balanced more closely, so, you know, that's one of the best things about it.
Yeah,
the
no,
way it
I think
balances
yeah.
the
they did a
days.
good job.
Both of them.
That's the best, is the balance.
Yeah, there won't be any.
This is some pretty fancy math, Aaron. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on the calendars?
Good job.
So next month to approve.
Yes, next month we'll bring you more information and hopefully the favorite of the
Very
drafts.
good. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate
Thank
everybody's
you.
hard work
Yeah.
on that.
No, that's,
And then we have a required agenda item for the intruder detection audit report. Becky?
Good evening. We're reporting to the board tonight a finding from one of the state's intruder detection audit reports. We are required to report any findings to the public via our regularly scheduled board meeting should the intruders find anything or the auditors find anything because of the newly functioning audits that came out this summer in a response to school safety items that needed to be looked at after Uvalde. So tonight we're going to look at the intruder detection audit report findings for River Valley Middle School. That was the school that came up. And then we also have to look at the corrective action plan that's been proposed by the Safety and Security Committee for the district, and then also our next steps moving forward. As a requirement of these, of this report, it's also noted that We shouldn't release any sensitive details regarding the audit in open session, so should you have questions, we could move into executive session. But tonight, we'll give you all the information that we can moving forward in this public meeting. So to begin, an intruder audit was conducted at River Valley Middle School on October 11th. The report had one finding that's initiated this presentation tonight, and then also a corrective action plan from the district. So again, in the best interest of students, tonight we're not going to share specific information to the broader public that might compromise safety and security on our campuses. But we will share as much as we can. So what we can share is that in that audit, we had 3 phases, and we excelled on that campus in all 3 phases except for one item in the 3rd phase, which had to do with our interior door checks. So the item that was flagged, the door that was flagged, and the interior door check was only checked because we go above and beyond, and in addition to what the state requires, we have an administrative guideline that says our classroom doors will be closed and locked during instructional times. So that's not a requirement of the state, but it is something that they allow schools to do, and that is another step above and beyond what the state requires that we do. So because we require that, they also check that. The finding, the door that they found was locked and closed, but could be pulled open. So the finding was not due to human error. The door had been locked, as we've asked teachers to do, but there was a faulty functioning lock that allowed that door to be pulled open when the auditor checked it. There was a work order in for that door. It had been put in that morning, so we knew about it, and that error was corrected that same day, I believe, if not the next morning. So we've taken care of what we needed to. Regardless of the finding and the reason for the finding, we still have some requirements from the Texas School Safety Center that does these audits. And they ask that if you have a finding in any of these reports, that your district's Safety and Security Committee meet, and then they develop a plan to immediately train and remediate anything that they've found, so that we know all staff have been trained that all doors should be closed and locked. You have to conduct an in-person training. That's some of the requirement. The training for the persons at the campus has to review the findings and then also allow an opportunity for them to give feedback on the findings. And we have to complete all of this within 45 days of being notified. So we're moving through that timeline right now. The Safety and Security Committee met and they reviewed the full report and then looked at a corrective action plan. So the committee agreed that reminding staff of the importance of closed and locked doors would be great. Even if it wasn't human error, it's good to mention that every time to do our due diligence in that area. The committee also wanted to make sure that door and lock work orders receive the highest priority in our work order system, and they do now. Principals are going to notify maintenance directly should they have a door or lock issue. And we won't rely just on the work order system, so we've got a backup system there as well. The committee also wanted to communicate with River Valley Middle School staff that they're doing an excellent job of keeping the campus safe, and that we realize it was not a human error that created this issue, but we're going to go through these steps to rectify that problem anyway. So next steps for us, River Valley Middle School was originally trained about the campus security on August 15th, which included the locked and closed doors. They're going to participate in a refresher training in their faculty meeting tomorrow. The elements that they're going to review, Mr. Offill has already created his slides for that training based on the feedback of the committee. They're going to review the auditor report, and then they will acknowledge all of the things that are going well, because we had one element that popped up on the two-sided page report of all the things that the auditor checked. So we did a lot of things very, very well. Just a reminder to stay vigilant and check the doors and locks and report them immediately should they find anything. And then they're going to have the opportunity to provide feedback. So if they see things or they want to make note of things, the faculty is going to be able to do that as well. Our substitute training is ongoing. So subs receive that instruction when they come to campus that day. And they have a folder and they have instructions that they're given, and subs are given those classroom keys so that they can keep the doors locked. So it's not locked one time and left open the rest of the day. They have that responsibility to keep the doors closed and locked as well. So moving forward, to document that we've gone through the necessary steps required by the Texas School Safety Center, we'll submit our minutes from the Safety and Security Committee that note the presentation of the report, and then also our corrective action plan and our next steps. And then we'll also submit the agenda from tonight's board meeting to show that we did present it to you and have it open for public information. So at this time, any questions?
Was River Valley the only school that we had get an audit, or were all of our campuses audited in October? I know it was kind
We're
of a
still in the
random
process
thing.
of auditing. We've had
Okay.
3 campuses audited since the beginning of school.
Do we expect all of them, or have they told us? I know it's kind of random.
Region 12 hires the auditors, and I believe they're trying to get through 75% of the schools in the region. So the
My
majority of our
understanding, though,
schools will be done.
That's fair.
By the end of the year.
From the Texas Education Agency, that all campuses were to
That's what
be
they've
audited.
said, I
That's
know,
what they've said.
But
at
I
the end of the
didn't
school
know
year.
if we're,
All campuses, so we'll see. But we've had 3, to answer your question, yes, 3 so far, and appreciate Dr. Odejima's work here in the River Valley for this one thing, but I actually had to correct a report that was sent, and I don't know if the Safety Center is doing anything about it, but campus wasn't named correctly, so I just said, you had the wrong name. It was Chapel something else, not Chapel Park. And so they simply, thank you, and we corrected it, but I don't see
When they originally called, they wanted to audit Woodgate, and I said that would be impossible, so
it's a little tongue in
No,
cheek,
it's
but
Chapel
again,
Park.
I'm just saying, I don't see them correcting on something that they
They
should have
made a
gotten
mistake.
correct,
You
which
need
is
to
the name of
report that.
the name
Gotta
of
hold
the
everybody
school.
to the same standard.
But Chapel Park and Hewitt Elementary, I'll say it, have
Right.
been completed, and now River Valley, and so we've had 7 more. It is a good system in the fact that I get a call or an email, Carolyn takes it if I'm out, we then notify Dr. Odejima, so we do know that somebody will be, we don't know what campus it will be, but we do get a heads up about an audit coming.
that's right.
They're very polite, very nice, very good. I feel well-trained and supportive, want to help, want to doing their jobs.
Was
So,
it the same person at each campus? Do we have one person doing
has
all
it
of our
been the same
schools?
auditor, do you remember?
We've had the same auditor twice, but one time as a different person.
I didn't know that.
Curiosity here, was it a warranty item with the door?
It was, I don't know about warranty, it was a newer construction door. And my experience, I wasn't there to fix the door, but my experience has been that sometimes after new construction, things settle a bit. And with the door locked, but still being able to pull open, something wasn't meeting
Wasn't
in the
lining up
plate and
right.
the lock.
It is one of the trickier things with new construction is getting doors right. Right, Brad?
That's exactly right.
I have a squeaky door, isn't that right, Brad?
Oh, no, this is not the place. Susan,
I don't think we've got pick on Brad on the agenda, so we're gonna move on.
Becky, I
We'll
heard
get it
from
on there for December. We'll get it on there for
Susan, are you making a
December.
motion? Is that what you're?
We're good.
just happened to pass a new River Valley parent in the last week or two who said, they mentioned to me there were 2 false alarms at River Valley the first week of school. Did you, and I asked him directly, how are things going over there? And he was happy to tell me, honestly, he said, that was my big complaint. We're so concerned about school safety, and to have that happen twice the first week of school was really unsettling to parents. I just was wondering whether if there was more information, anything else I can tell him.
Yeah. So we have changed the alert system since that time, the lockdown system.